All right, so now we're going to go ahead and do the last of the 4 player sheets. This one is the Warfare sheet, and we're going to go ahead and reveal the next card here in our little stacked deck. Toward a New Home strategy card, of course, just like the others we've been doing. And now we're going to go ahead and spend these cards' resources. So Warfare has a slightly more involved setup. So rather than some of the other cards where there's a specific key or we were marking off stuff, first we're going to spend the resources to essentially build ships and forces, and then we're going to mark them on the grid here to the right to show where we're placing them and how our forces are distributed. So the first thing that we do is let's go ahead and make a cruiser over here. Oh look, we have exactly the right resources for that. So we'll mark these off, claim the victory points associated with them, and then we're going to put the ship on here. The ship has to be adjacent to the deployment zone. So at least one of the dots in our 3-dot line here is going to have to be adjacent to that. So for that, we're going to go ahead and draw a vertical line here. Get all of these, which also lets us claim the victory points that we draw the line through. Anytime you put a marker on a node, it lets you claim that spot. Then, of course, we're going to roll the dice. Let's get everything over here. So now we have 2, oh geez, I'll never remember their names, 2 materials and 1 influence to spend. And let's take a look at what we can build here. So we couldn't build an entire another ship, but what we can build always, which you can always build here, is infantry. And you can spend 1-to-1 dice to place infantry on the board, which are just marking off a single dot. So let's go ahead and spend 2 of the resources. We'll go ahead and spend the materials to mark off these 2, which lets us claim another victory point. And then we'll spend the last one. We're going to start building one of the PDS here, because the PDS are a very powerful option. So we'll get ready to have one of those online for a coming round, for the next time we choose the Warfare strategy. And that is how we assign those. Of course, it has technology just like all of the others, and you can always spend results on those. And we'll go over how the rest of this card works when we actually come up with a war event, which shows us how our forces interact with those of our neighbors. One of the other things we can do with the Warfare sheet is spend our specialty assets that we got earlier to unlock the ability to make these larger ships. The Dreadnought and the War Sun are both locked behind those specialty things, but since, if you remember back on our expansion sheet earlier, we unlocked this specialty asset, we could right now spend that to give us permission to make Dreadnoughts as we move forward. So let's go ahead and just say that's what we're going to do. And then we'll mark off the Dreadnought right there. Circle it to show that we've got permission. Come back to our expansion sheet and mark off that we've used that asset. And then moving forward, we'll be able to start spending dots and rolls and resources, putting Dreadnoughts on the table.